Imagine standing at the edge of time itself. Around you, entire worlds are disappearing. Volcanoes darken the skies for years. Asteroids strike with unimaginable force. Continents split apart, oceans rise and fall, and climates swing from sweltering heat to crushing ice ages. Life on Earth has faced extinction not once, but 5 different times on a global scale. Each event erased vast numbers of species, wiping out creatures that had dominated the planet for millions of years. The mighty dinosaurs vanished. Giant marine reptiles disappeared. Countless plants and animals simply ceased to exist. Yet through every catastrophe, a remarkable handful of organisms refused to surrender. They endured when everything around them collapsed, carrying the story of ancient Earth into the modern world. These extraordinary survivors are more than biological curiosities. They are living archives, preserving traits that evolved hundreds of millions of years ago. Some have remained almost unchanged since long before the first mammals appeared. Others possess abilities so extraordinary that they seem to challenge the limits of biology itself. Together, they reveal one of nature's greatest lessons: survival is rarely about being the biggest, the fastest, or the strongest. It is about adapting to change when change becomes unavoidable. Perhaps no creature embodies this lesson better than the horseshoe crab. Despite its name, it is neither a true crab nor particularly closely related to modern crustaceans. Instead, its closest living relatives are spiders and scorpions. Even more astonishing is its age. Horseshoe crabs have existed for roughly 450 million years, making them older than dinosaurs, older than flowering plants, and older than the continents as we know them today. When the first horseshoe crabs crawled across shallow coastal waters, Earth looked almost alien. Vast swamps covered the land, giant insects filled the skies, and vertebrate life had barely begun its conquest of dry land. Since then, these armored creatures have witnessed nearly every major chapter in Earth's biological history. They survived the devastating Permian mass extinction about 252 million years ago, when nearly 90% of marine species disappeared. They endured the asteroid impact that ended the reign of the dinosaurs. Through it all, their body plan remained remarkably successful. Their resilience is more than skin deep. Horseshoe crabs possess one of the most extraordinary immune systems known to science. Their blue blood contains copper instead of iron, giving it its striking color. More importantly, it reacts instantly to harmful bacterial toxins by clotting around invading microbes. This remarkable defense has become invaluable to modern medicine. Every vaccine, injectable medication, and implanted medical device is tested using compounds derived from horseshoe crab blood to ensure it is free from dangerous bacterial contamination. In an unexpected way, this ancient survivor helps protect millions of human lives every year. If the horseshoe crab represents endurance through consistency, crocodilians represent the perfection of evolutionary refinement. Crocodiles, alligators, caimans, and gharials trace their ancestry back more than 200 million years. Their ancestors walked the earth alongside dinosaurs and survived the catastrophe that destroyed nearly every large terrestrial animal at the end of the Cretaceous period. At first glance, crocodiles appear almost prehistoric because, in many ways, they are. Their powerful jaws, armored skin, muscular tails, and stealthy hunting strategies have required surprisingly little modification over millions of years. Evolution did not ignore them. Instead, evolution found a design that worked exceptionally well. Modern crocodiles possess one of the strongest bite forces ever measured in any living animal. Their sensory organs can detect tiny vibrations in the water, allowing them to locate prey even in complete darkness. They can slow their metabolism dramatically, surviving months without food when conditions become harsh. Their hearts are among the most advanced of any reptile, enabling efficient oxygen use during long underwater ambushes. But perhaps their greatest strength lies in patience. Unlike predators that depend on speed or endurance, crocodiles conserve energy with remarkable efficiency. They wait silently for the perfect opportunity, sometimes remaining almost completely motionless for hours before striking with explosive force. In nature, wasting energy can be fatal. Crocodiles mastered energy conservation long before humans understood the concept. Another extraordinary survivor lives far beneath the ocean's surface, where sunlight never penetrates. The chambered Nautilus resembles an elegant spiral shell drifting through the darkness, but its lineage stretches back nearly 500 million years. Ancient oceans once teemed with hundreds of species of shelled cephalopods, many growing larger than buses. Today, almost all have vanished, leaving the Nautilus as one of the last representatives of an ancient dynasty. Its shell is far more than protection. Inside are dozens of chambers filled with carefully controlled mixtures of gas and liquid. By adjusting these chambers, the Nautilus regulates its buoyancy with remarkable precision, rising and descending through deep waters while expending very little energy. It is an engineering solution that evolved hundreds of millions of years before humans understood the principles of buoyancy. Unlike its highly intelligent cousins, the octopus and squid, the Nautilus possesses a relatively simple brain and modest eyesight. Yet these apparent disadvantages may actually have contributed to its survival. Simplicity often brings stability. By occupying a specialized ecological niche and avoiding direct competition with faster predators, the Nautilus quietly persisted while countless more specialized species disappeared. Then there is one of the smallest yet toughest creatures ever discovered, the tardigrade, often called the water bear. Barely visible to the naked eye, this microscopic animal has become legendary among scientists for its astonishing ability to survive conditions that would instantly kill almost every other known organism. When faced with drought, freezing temperatures, radiation, or even the vacuum of outer space, the tardigrade enters a state known as cryptobiosis. It loses nearly all of its body water, curls into a tiny dehydrated ball, and reduces its metabolism to almost zero. In this suspended state, it can remain dormant for years, perhaps even decades, until favorable conditions return. Once water becomes available again, it simply rehydrates and resumes life as though nothing happened. Experiments have exposed tardigrades to temperatures approaching absolute zero, intense heat exceeding the boiling point of water, crushing pressures found in the deepest ocean trenches, and radiation doses thousands of times higher than what would be lethal to humans. Some have even survived direct exposure to outer space before returning safely to Earth. Scientists continue investigating the unique proteins that protect tardigrade DNA from damage. These discoveries could one day improve medicine, preserve biological tissues for transplantation, or even assist astronauts on long-duration missions beyond our planet. As remarkable as these creatures are, they all share a profound truth. Their survival was never guaranteed. Every mass extinction, every shift in climate, every environmental upheaval represented another test of resilience. Time after time, they passed, not because they dominated the world, but because they learned, through evolution, how to endure it. And as we continue exploring nature's greatest survivors, even more astonishing stories await, stories of ancient fish that outlived continents, trees older than civilizations, and animals whose very existence forces scientists to rethink what it truly means to survive against impossible odds. The oceans hold another astonishing survivor whose existence once seemed impossible. For decades, scientists believed the coelacanth had disappeared forever. Fossils showed that these unusual lobe-finned fish swam ancient seas more than 400 million years ago, and the youngest known fossils suggested they had vanished alongside the dinosaurs about 66 million years ago. Paleontologists confidently classified them as extinct. Their story, it seemed, had already ended. Then, in 1938, something extraordinary happened. Off the coast of South Africa, a museum curator named Marjorie Courtney Latimer examined the catch from a local fishing boat. Among the sharks and common fish lay an animal unlike anything she had ever seen. It possessed thick, fleshy fins that looked almost like primitive limbs, a strange three-lobed tail, and shimmering blue scales unlike those of modern fish. Experts soon confirmed the unbelievable truth. The coelacanth was alive. The discovery stunned the scientific world. It was as if someone had stumbled upon a living Tyrannosaurus wandering through a forest. A creature believed lost for tens of millions of years had quietly survived in the deep ocean, hidden from human eyes. Today, scientists study the coelacanth not simply because it is ancient, but because it offers a glimpse into one of the greatest evolutionary transitions in Earth's history. Its unique fins resemble the structures that eventually gave rise to the limbs of amphibians, reptiles, birds, and mammals, including humans. Every movement of this remarkable fish echoes a chapter of evolution that ultimately allowed vertebrates to leave the sea and conquer the land. Not all survivors hide in the depths. Some stand silently in forests, measuring time not in decades or centuries, but in millennia. The giant sequoias of California are among the largest living organisms ever to exist. While individual trees may not be as old as some bristlecone pines, they possess a resilience that borders on unbelievable. Many have lived for over 2,000 years, surviving lightning strikes, insect invasions, droughts, and countless wildfires. Their secret lies in an unusual relationship with destruction. Fire, which kills most trees, actually helps giant sequoias reproduce. Their thick bark, often more than 2 feet thick, contains little flammable resin and insulates the living tissue beneath from intense heat. Flames clear away competing vegetation while opening the tree's cones, releasing thousands of seeds onto nutrient-rich soil. What appears to be catastrophe becomes an opportunity for renewal. Nature often works this way. Survival is not always about avoiding disaster. Sometimes it depends on evolving to benefit from it. Another master of endurance drifts almost invisibly through Earth's oceans. Jellyfish have existed for at least 500 million years, making them among the oldest animal groups still alive today. During that immense span of time, continents have repeatedly rearranged themselves, countless marine predators have evolved and disappeared, and entire ecosystems have transformed. Yet jellyfish continue to pulse through the seas much as their ancestors once did. Unlike complex vertebrates, jellyfish possess no brain, no heart, and no lungs. Their bodies are composed mostly of water, with a simple network of nerves coordinating their movements. At first glance, such simplicity seems like a weakness. In reality, it is one of their greatest strengths. Simple organisms require fewer resources, reproduce efficiently, and adapt rapidly to changing environments. Some jellyfish species even thrive in waters depleted of oxygen where many fish cannot survive. Others have expanded into coastal regions affected by pollution and climate change, taking advantage of ecological disruptions that challenge more specialized animals. One species has attracted particular fascination, the so-called immortal jellyfish. Rather than dying after reproduction, it can reverse its own life cycle under certain stressful conditions, transforming from its adult stage back into an earlier juvenile form. This biological reset can theoretically occur repeatedly, making it one of the few animals capable of escaping aging under the right circumstances. While predators and disease still limit its lifespan in nature, its remarkable ability continues to intrigue researchers studying aging and regenerative medicine. Far beneath the soil, another ancient survivor has quietly shaped life on Earth for hundreds of millions of years. Earthworms may seem ordinary, but their ancestors have been enriching soils since long before flowering plants appeared. Every tunnel they create allows air and water to penetrate the ground. Every mouthful of decaying material they consume is transformed into nutrient-rich castings that fertilize future plant growth. Charles Darwin devoted decades to studying earthworms, eventually concluding that few animals had influenced Earth's ecosystems more profoundly. Forests, grasslands, and agricultural fields all depend upon the slow, relentless labor of these humble engineers. Sometimes survival does not require spectacular adaptations. Sometimes it simply requires becoming indispensable. Perhaps no animal better illustrates endurance through intelligence than the horseshoe bat. Bats as a group have survived dramatic climate shifts, habitat changes, and mass extinctions by developing one extraordinary innovation: powered flight combined with echolocation. Using high-frequency sounds beyond human hearing, bats construct detailed acoustic maps of their surroundings. They detect insects in total darkness, navigate dense forests without colliding with branches, and communicate across vast cave systems. Their brains process returning echoes with astonishing speed, allowing them to react within fractions of a second. This remarkable sensory system opened ecological opportunities unavailable to most other mammals. By hunting primarily at night, bats avoided competition with daytime predators while exploiting abundant insect populations. Adaptability once again proved stronger than brute force. Even among insects, survivors abound. Dragonflies have patrolled Earth's skies for more than 300 million years. Their ancient relatives reached wingspans exceeding 2 feet during periods when atmospheric oxygen levels were much higher than today. Although modern dragonflies are smaller, they remain among nature's most accomplished aerial hunters. Their compound eyes contain tens of thousands of individual lenses, providing nearly panoramic vision. Each wing can move independently, allowing breathtaking aerial maneuvers impossible for most flying insects. They can hover, fly backward, accelerate instantly, and intercept prey with extraordinary precision. Scientists studying drone technology continue drawing inspiration from dragonfly flight mechanics. Despite their sophistication, dragonflies have retained the same fundamental body design that served their ancestors hundreds of millions of years ago. Again and again, evolution demonstrates a remarkable principle: when a design works exceptionally well, radical change becomes unnecessary. But perhaps the greatest lesson shared by all these ancient survivors is not simply that they endured. It is that survival has always demanded flexibility. Species that adapted to changing climates, shifting food supplies, and unpredictable disasters often persisted. Those unable to adjust frequently vanished, regardless of how dominant they once appeared. The fossil record is filled with giants that seemed invincible until the environment changed faster than they could respond. In contrast, many of today's oldest lineages survived because they occupied stable ecological niches, reproduced efficiently, tolerated environmental stress, or evolved strategies that minimized energy consumption. These living relics remind us that extinction is rarely caused by a single event alone. More often, it results from an inability to cope with change. As humanity faces accelerating climate shifts, habitat loss, and biodiversity decline, these remarkable creatures offer more than fascinating stories from the distant past. They provide enduring lessons written over hundreds of millions of years of evolution. Nature rewards resilience, adaptability, and balance far more often than raw power. The greatest survivors on Earth did not conquer the planet through dominance. They mastered something far more important. They learned how to endure when the world refused to stay the same.